Hello everyone, I just wanted to do a quick little video about my experience trying to call Kingdom Halls. I had one all ready to go, and it was one that I was hoping to do to get someone thinking just before they did their daily reading a few days from now, and maybe get them to start waking up. But I called over 25 Kingdom Halls and could not get a single human being. But I did find some interesting things in common there. One being that a number of the Kingdom Hall's messages were talking about their memorial. So they obviously don't change their outgoing message very often, because that seemed to be quite the trend. And then, of course, I also noticed that they are always, no matter where they are, small or big city, wherever, every congregation is bunched in with several other congregations into the same Kingdom Hall. Some of them have the same numbers, some of them have different numbers, but they're all at the same hall, at the same address, because as we know, Watchtower loves to get their followers to build kingdom halls for them, keep them in great shape, and then sell them off and collect the profits, and just force them all into one building together. So I definitely noticed that. Another really odd thing that I did not expect was how many I found. I'm up here in British Columbia, Canada, and quite a number of congregations in various different areas have a Spanish-speaking congregation. Now, if you're American, that would sound pretty normal because you have a lot of Spanish-speaking people. In Canada, we don't have very many Spanish-speaking people. We were more likely to have more French-speaking people. But several Kingdom Halls that I called have Spanish congregations. And I am so fascinated by that, and I really, really want to actually know how many people go to those meetings. There can't be many, because Spanish is just not commonly spoken here. So unless they have some weird sort of community that have moved from Spanish-speaking countries all specifically together to those areas, I really don't know why they would have those kinds of congregations. Or I wonder if maybe it's that I know the Watchtower likes to train people in other languages to just preach the Watchtower literature, basically, in a foreign language, and they'll get really good at that to a point that, as you've probably heard on Bridget's phone calls, if she catches somebody who's in another congregation, say a Spanish-speaking congregation, they have a really hard time speaking to somebody in English about it, because all of their training, even if they're actually English-speaking people as their first language, they have a hard time actually trying to share the sales pitch, essentially, do what they would call their witnessing, to someone who speaks English, because the training just doesn't cross that line very well. And that is so fascinating, because I really think if I was trying to speak to somebody in another language, I wouldn't need to be trained in that language how to actually promote a specific amount of material or anything like that. I would simply be communicating as best I could what I already know to be true, and would just be trying to use language that could communicate that to them. But that would be up to me to figure out, that wouldn't be a matter of memorizing all of these statements that they always say. So I just found that so fascinating. And I don't know if there's any of you out there who are in Canada, if you know of any congregations that have Spanish-speaking congregations as well. I'm so fascinated that I want to make more calls just to see how many more of them have that up here. And if any of you are ex-JWs and have belonged to or gone to Canadian congregation Kingdom Halls, then I would love to know if you have any experience with that too, because like I said, it's really strange to me. So just a point of interest. And I am sad to say that even though I'm calling during the day, maybe that's a problem. Maybe calling in the evening is better. I don't really know. But apparently the Kingdom Halls are all basically empty during the day, unless they have a meeting specifically. And that varies from Kingdom Hall to Kingdom Hall. So there's no way to really plan that unless I call ahead and find out when their meeting is, and then make a point of calling around that time. And that gives them, of course, the general excuse if they don't like a question I'm asking, then they can say, oh, I have to go to the meeting now. So I guess that could be something that might work really well for them if I did it that way, but we'll see. So sadly, my little window of time here that I was going to use to try and witness to somebody on the phone has turned out to be a bust today. But I still did learn some interesting things anyway, and we'll try again another time and see if I can get through to anybody, because as you guys know, I am not well physically and not able to get out very much, especially in the heat of summer. And also just my health has been continuing to degrade, so I'm not really sure how often I'll be able to get out and talk to witnesses, but I'm certainly going to keep trying to get to the carts whenever I can. They're not coming to my house too often, and you can imagine they probably kind of know to avoid my house. But hopefully they'll be coming around again soon. And of course, I'm not seeing them out anywhere. So normally you would see them out in neighborhoods occasionally and you would know it was them. And it's the same actually here with the LDS or Mormons. I don't see them out very much either, and I used to see them out quite a bit. So I'm thinking that that whole thing seems to be kind of dwindling, if I can put it that way. They don't really seem to want to go door to door very much. What they will do at some places, fewer than before, but at some places they will still go out to their carts and stand there for 4 hours or 2 hours and then take a break and then come back for another 2 hours or whatever they have planned. And when I see them out, on those occasions that I can get out, no one else ever talks to them. I've never seen anyone go up to a witness. I've never seen witnesses there talking to other people. They'll kind of, toss a little comment at people to chit chat a bit here and there, but, nothing crazy, just some friendly talk about the weather or whatever. But other than that, they don't have any of these congregations. So they're basically, what I can tell is that they're witnessing right now. What they call witnessing is just going and sitting next to their little cart and playing on their phones or talking to each other for hours and then packing up and going home. And that is it. There's no actual witnessing or sales pitch or anything happening. They're just kind of there. So it's no wonder that the only real growth that happens is by birth, basically. They're not able to bring people in very much because they don't talk to anyone anymore. And they won't debate. They won't actually defend their faith. They just give a little sales pitch and that sad little book that they want to get people to read with them that is so mind-numbing. And that's the end of it. And that's good. I'm glad, because I would really like to see the Watchtower topple, as I'm sure all of you would. But it makes me wonder what is in the works next. And just recently I actually saw a video from a fellow talking about how Africans are starting to wake up too, and how Watchtower is trying to cater to the Africans to try and get them not to look into any of the failed prophecies or other issues that are going on with Watchtower, because as soon as they do, they start waking up and they leave as well. So that's exciting that they're potentially starting to lose members in Africa as well, because I understand that was probably where they were having the greatest growth outside of just having babies and making them Jehovah's Witnesses. So those are my thoughts for today. I'm sorry I don't have a fascinating conversation to share with you guys today. Hopefully one day I'll be able to get a hold of somebody again, and we'll keep at it when I get a chance. Thank you again for all your prayers, and God bless.